it's me again, Kalliopi, and we're back with another watercolor tutorial. And yeah, today I'm gonna show you how to create this misty ocean, what? No, we've done that. This misty icy cold winter mountain, and I say easy once again in the title, and most of you get it because I read your comments, but for those of you who say that they are too damn difficult, I mean, wait a second and think about this. After you have watched all those beginner-friendly watercolor tutorials and techniques here on YouTube, and you have done random brushstrokes on papers, what do you do after that? And this is where I want to get in. This is a painting that needs really basic techniques, but it has a composition and a theme, and it takes a little bit more time. Yes, I admit it. It takes around 1 to maybe 2 hours to finish, but in the end you have used everything you have learned and you have a painting that you are pretty proud of. What better than this? Also, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and I will talk about them a little bit more later on. So yeah, let's get started. As always, I'm using my favorite watercolor paper by Artsy, the cold pressed, and I am cutting it in an A5 size. And for watercolors, I'm gonna use the Kuretake Gansai watercolor palette that I really love, and it is really beginner friendly price-wise and quality. And also, it is so easy to show you which colors I'm gonna use and what I'm going to mix. And as you can see here, I took out the colors I thought I was going to use because the watercolor palette comes in a really big box and it is nice, but when I have a more specific palette, there is no need to have all these other colors to confuse me. I took out 6 colors, but as you will see later on, I only used 3 of these, which is the black color number 20, indigo blue number 67, and turquoise green deep number 57. And of course, because I love to have a clean white border around my painting and also tape it down so it can dry flat, I am using simple masking paper tape. And here you can see the struggle of me trying to have a nice aesthetic shot, but also actually be able to paint, and with all those items on my right hand, since I am a right-handed, yeah, it wouldn't work, so I moved all my colors on the top. For brushes, I'm gonna use these 2 round brushes, one size 12 and one size 2. The smaller one is by Scribble and Dot, and it is included in their watercolor paper premium box. Now, as always, before I start painting, I want to create the layout and place a really quick and basic sketch of where everything will go. So as you can see, I'm kind of measuring half of the paper and going a little bit above the middle. So this is where my tallest mountain top will be. And I start sketching out a really simple mountain line work and a few spots to remind me where I want to add more shadows. And I will have a picture here of the full line work, so you can actually just pause the video and even trace it. Yeah, you know, the good old-fashioned way where you put the paper on your PC screen and close all the lights around you. I actually encourage you to do so because it really doesn't matter if you just trace a few lines. The whole point is for you to create the painting, and trust me, your skills are not measured by those few lines in the start. But this is a whole other art subject that I would like to talk about, but maybe in another video. So yeah, just always do whatever helps you and helps your painting, because in the end it is your creation and you must have fun and just pour your heart out in any way you can. In this video, I'm going to use masking fluid, and this is probably the first video I'm going to, and I think there is really a possible way for you to not use it at all, but I thought I should give it a try. Masking fluid is an art material that helps you cover parts of your painting that you don't want the watercolor to go to, or even create a sort of barrier around an area you don't want to color. Because as you know, with watercolors, the widest part will be the paper. There is no way to go back. Only of course if you add another type of painting like gouache or acrylic white to add highlights. So as you can see, I am adding a line, a barrier around my mountain, so I can freely paint the sky and the lower part, and having masking fluid to stop the water from going on the mountain is really helpful in cases like this where you want to have a wet on wet technique and you have to add a lot of water and color and you cannot really control where it will go. And you also get the peace of mind to just keep trying to blend everything, knowing you're placing your color in a specific area. And it took about 10 minutes to dry, but yeah, it was really worth it, as you will see later on. And always close it fast after use because it can dry out really quickly and ruin your whole masking fluid. Now we're going to finally mix our first color for the sky and the lower spot, the misty part. So as you can see, I'm mixing my indigo with black, and because if you look closely to icy winter looking sceneries, they are not exactly gray or completely blue, they have a tint of green in them. I found the turquoise green deep color the perfect type of color for this mood. So after I mixed my color, I wet the whole part of the page for the sky and the lower spot. Oh, and of course I forgot to mention that I also added masking fluid on a small circle on the top of the sky because I want to have a little moon thing going on there. And I got completely inspired by Pinterest once again, so I should probably mention it. After my page is full wet, I start adding my color on the lower right corner of the mountain. Generally, the whole right side of the painting will be the darker one with the more shadows. That's why I also want to have my right corner of the mountain to be the darkest one, so you can have a contrast and make the mountain pop in front of us. And all I do is just tap the color on the wet paper and let it flow and spread. And I slowly start to move it upwards. Also, this is the place where I decided I will only use these three colors, so I brought them closer to me and into the shot so you can see which colors I am digging into. And I kept spreading the color and also tapping away sometimes and using my towel to absorb some color because I made some spots even darker than I wanted them to be. As I said, I wanted the darkest part to be the right corner, so I kind of made the whole mountain line dark, which wasn't what I wanted, and you should not either. And then I did the same thing on the lower part, this time focusing on the lower left corner to be the darker one and have this beautiful gradient light wash going up on the mountain. Also, I used my hairdryer to make the whole process a little faster, but I made sure to use a slow setting so I don't actually move the watercolors. After the whole painting was dry, I went ahead and did a second layer to make everything even darker and blend them smoothly. Again, focusing on the corners, the right one's top and the left bottom one to be the darker spots and the focal point of our contrast. And if you have a hard time blending one spot, always remember that it is much better to wet the whole paper again and try to blend everything together than just to try and blend one part. For me, it actually almost never works since it leaves a watermark that really doesn't help the whole misty look. Now the exciting part, I am about to remove the masking fluid, and as you can see, it was so easy to remove it. I just rubbed it with my finger to create an end so I can catch, and then I slowly pulled it upwards, and yeah, just like that it goes off and you're left with a really nice border, and you can start painting this part now. And thinking about it now, I think it wouldn't have worked without it because you can see how saturated my corners are, and if the masking fluid wasn't there to block the paper, the watercolor paint, it wouldn't have been easy to control it at all. But before we continue, here is a few words about Skillshare. Most of us, including me, we are back into lockdown and quarantine, and after we take our small walk into our ghost cities, then learning something new and being creative and passionate about it in the safety of our home is the next best thing we can actually do. Skillshare is an online learning community that thousands of people have joined to learn and be more creative about topics like photography, art, design, illustration, and so many more. One class that I found super helpful, made by the one and only Zaza, was Mastering Illustration, where he shows everything from start to finish on how to explore your style, the tools you may need for sketching and inking, and he also uses his unique way of thinking to motivate you to just start drawing. Access to all the Skillshare classes with the annual membership is only $10 per month, but I'm super happy to let you know that the first 1,000 people who will click the link in the description box down below will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Now I'm grabbing my smaller brush and once again mixing my color. I brought my palette closer so you can see the actual color. It is a really nice, deep, not really saturated blue with green undertone. I just love this color. For me, it's the perfect icy winter cold color. And now we're about to start adding our first shadows that will bring up the shape and the silhouette of the mountain. I'm trying to first add some middle tones, so nothing too dramatic, too dark or too light. And of course, it is very important to mention here that all of our shadows will kind of follow a diagonal line that a mountain has, either the right one or the left one, that at the end they meet and create a really nice triangular top. I'm so sorry if this explanation really sucks, but I cannot find another word in English to explain it. Maybe, a slope, the whole part of the mountain that goes down. Also, here you can see I'm starting to create the misty effect on the lower part, since this is the part where we're going to have the most foggy, blended, misty look, where it is supposed to be the bottom of the mountain that melts into the snow and into the scenery and it gets lost. I am trying to really wet the area and blend out any harsh line that was created from the masking fluid, and then after it is really wet, I start tapping and dabbing color to make it darker and more saturated. And now that I have kind of placed some mid-tones, it is time for me to start adding my really black spots, because for me these are the true guidelines of my mountain shape and how everything will go. And trust me, this is just so easy. All you have to do is just create really small dots and lines and just really tiny small shapes and bring them all close together. This is a really important step of this whole painting, because if you start adding big shapes, then you're going to lose the fact that this mountain is really far away, and the beauty of it is that you are actually capturing it in such a small view. So please keep in mind to create really tiny spots like dots. Trust me, it will make such a huge difference in the end. So yeah, as you can see, I'm gathering my really small dots and lines into small places. These are the parts of the mountain that aren't covered with snow, the rocky visible sections. And of course, as they are still wet, I kind of dip my brush in the water and try to add some mid-tones around them to give depth and dimension. Once again, using the mid-tones to create really nice slopes and diagonal lines and shapes to showcase my mountain shape. And whenever I feel like I need to cover a lot more space with one brushstroke because I need it to look more unified, then I go back to my bigger brush and try to blend and add those midtones with the larger brush strokes. And then you pretty much see me repeat all those steps once again, adding some midtones, then coming back to add really tiny dots and small black lines for the rocky part. And by till now, I'm only using my black color and the turquoise green dip. By other sometimes using more black if I wanted a true darker tone, and other times I use more of the turquoise if I want to bring back some color and saturation to the painting. Oh, and also remember that the full real-time video process of this painting will be up on my Patreon for all the $10 and up tiers. So yeah, if someone wants to see the full real time of it, I will have it up there, and the link for my Patreon will be in the description box. And also the actual original painting you are watching right now will be up on my Etsy shop if anyone wants to give it a home. And I am always so grateful for every and each one of you. Yeah, you guys rock my world. here's a closer look of me again doing a really small movements, because this is such a huge mountain and it really only makes sense if everything seems really tiny. And I'm also starting to focus more on my right part of the mountain, which is supposed to be the darkest and the one with the more shadows. Using my bigger brush and the turquoise, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the color wrong, but it is such a difficult name and I'm using a kind of a Greek pronunciation, so yeah, I'm gonna say turquoise all the time. And I'm trying to add more shadows on the misty part and the right part of the mountain. And we are almost done. This is the part where I'm taking my Uniball white gel pen, which is such a lifesaver. If you don't have a white acrylic pen or gouache, this is such a perfect, really quick and easy way to add highlights on your paintings. So I just use it to bring back some white spots and highlights on the top of the mountain. And also I am dotting around some white sparkles on the body of the mountain for highlights, especially on the darker parts. Ooh, I mean, it looks so beautiful. And also I am adding some diagonal lines, not really perfect lines. I let the pen flow and skip some parts. And then all we have to do is bring some life back to our moon, which is not supposed to be fully shown. It is supposed to be kind of lost into the clouds and the fog. So I'm focusing only on one part of it. And this is it. Now we can have the satisfaction of peeling the masking tape and seeing this beautiful white border and our whole scenery. I mean, I really love how this turned out. And this was the video. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something. I cannot wait to see your thoughts in the comments down below, and of course let me know if you want to see something else next time. And yeah, send me your recreations on my Instagram account at Kalliopi Lyviaki. I would love to see them and share them. And as I said before, I am on Patreon, where you can find the full real-time video of this painting and so much more, like stickers and art prints and everything about my bullet journaling, which is so excited. So yeah, thank you so much for being here and watching this video. It truly means everything. And yeah, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Until next time, have a super duper day. Bye. And my belly says I need to eat.